All right, here we are. G'day, welcome to Happy Flying. I'm a bit flustered actually. Stu from UAVFutures here. G'day, welcome to Happy Flying. This has to be coming up on our yearly anniversary to our weekly FPV live streams. I don't know if you heard that, but my phone literally just decided to kick off right then. I don't know if that little tune was coming through on the mic or anything like that. Let me just put my phone into silent mode or do not disturb. Here we go. That's a little bit better. Anyway, g'day. This is Happy Flying, our weekly FPV live stream where we go through, we talk about all the latest FPV news, we have a little bit of fun, we talk about some hot topics that are bouncing around in the FPV world, and we also focus on you guys. This is the best part of my working week. Let's check the microphone is working, see who is in the chat. I can see a whole bunch of members as well, so thank you very much. Look at that chat. It's like all green. We got Johnny DRC here. I can see Sparuni, Everyday with Bruno. I can see Happy Flyer in here as well. So we're getting some, it's great to have you guys are the UAVFutures family. And I always want to make this, like, this is sort of how I feel about this, that you guys are the most important part about this. FPV is such an amazing community, and just being able to connect in real time and answer your questions and hang out, even if we're on other sides of the planet, it's still, I'm very grateful that we have this here and we can just connect and bond over these silly flying little robots that we call drones. Now, coming up in today's show, of course, we're going to be answering your questions. So let me know what you guys are up to. And if you've been flying, if you've got any questions, if there's any new products you want to check out, or if you just want to say hello in the chat. But we have, we're going to be talking about these iFlight goggles, because I don't know if we need to do a bit of an open letter, but we definitely need to be discussing these because they're like close to $500 US. And well, there's some things we need to say about them. I want to show you a little about some things we've been working on DIY FPV. I want to talk about some DJI compatibility issues and taking new pilots on their first flight. We have a bit of a sim list competition. So we're going to be sort of ranking and deciding which is the best sim to get. So if you are a new pilot and you're wondering, hey, I want to get better at flying, sims are a great way to do that. Which sim should I get? So we're going to be answering those questions. We've got some new stuff from HDZero, which looks pretty awesome, actually. We've got talking about DJI and like flight bands and all that sort of stuff that's happening over in the States. We need to talk about ready to fly kits. And then I cannot believe that this company still exists, but I've got some stuff from, believe it or not, HobbyKing. Yeah, that's right. I haven't ordered from HobbyKing in almost a decade, and they've sent me some things to check out. So I'll be showing that on the stream as well. But let me know, of course, what are you guys up to? Have you had a good weekend? Where have you been flying? When was the last time you went flying? What are you flying? Or have you just been watching FPV videos and it's raining the whole time and you're stuck indoors? Spirini's saying he's just come in from some night flying. So I can see there's some pretty cool cameras out there from people doing night flying. What sort of camera were you using? We got Maddie's in the chat as well. School holdover. Finally, we have daytime freedom back. Yes, my kids are meant to be back at school, but thank you for reminding me. We have our youngest is sort of she's having some supervised, the iPad is supervising her basically right now. I try to not let my kids on screens too much, but it's a bit of a lifesaver in these sticky situations when I'm here. So if I have to do some emergency disappearing, or you hear some little knocking and some little voices asking me, that's going to be my youngest daughter asking me some questions and that sort of stuff. At the moment, she seems pretty content. We put on, I don't know, it was like the Teletubbies or something like that for her to watch. But actually, that's not true. It's probably like, what was the show? I think it was called Bluey. So we've got Bluey on there. But yeah, you might see me having to duck out and address that, because she's meant to be at school, but we're chilling at home today. She's not feeling well. We've got Johnny V here. He's saying, hey, first time catching the live stream. Very welcome to the live stream. So I'm just reading some other things here. Yeah, welcome. It's great to have you. Let's jump right in. We're going to kick off the show the way we do every single week, and that is talking about you guys and just the importance about positive mental health. I know we call this show Happy Flying, and we are going to talk about so much cool FPV things, but we always start this off by just saying, hey, if you are out there, if this just reaches one person, the one person that needs to hear this, I would like to let you know that you are not alone. Your feelings are valid. You are valued. You are cared about. We are grateful that you are here, and you don't have to suffer or feel ashamed if you're not feeling yourself. Please, it's not weak to speak. I know, speaking from direct experience, just how hard and dark and tough some days can be. About 5 years ago, I was really suffering with some pretty bad depression, actually, and I'm very grateful that we're on the other side of that, but I still remember just how hard those days were. And I would like to let the other people know, even if it's just one person that sees this video, I want to take the time out of this show to say that that person is valued. And if this is resonating with you, maybe you are the person that needs to hear this to say, hey, you are cared about. And I'm really grateful that you're here. And please don't just bottle it all up and feel like you have to get on with your life. Go and speak to some professionals, because they will help you. Go and talk to the doctor. I really stress that. I think it's a really important step to do, and do not feel ashamed about that. If you broke your leg, you wouldn't just walk around the backyard and suck it up and try to deal with it. And it's the same thing. If your head is, dare I say, a little bit broken or not working the correct way, you don't have to walk around doing that all the time by yourself. Go and get some professional help. That's what it's there for. And it makes a huge difference. So please, I just want to address that you don't have to feel alone or ashamed. I'm grateful that you are here. We do hear you, we do see you, and you are cared about. And don't feel weak about going to speak up. All right, we're going to jump straight in. We're going to talk about some iFlight goggles. We've got Dog FPV. He's saying, he's giving me some happy faces in the chat. We've got Suncoast. G'day, Fly Mob. In 4 days, I'm 4 fly days in and loving the trip, figuring out stuff, enjoying the process. Thanks to you. Welcome very much to the hobby. 4 days in. That is such a amazing time when you're just starting to learn FPV. I was going to talk about these iFlight goggles, but this is probably a perfect segue. Thanks very much for that. We are going to talk about new pilots who are coming in and a very special moment that happened. So over the weekend, I was really fortunate. Shout out to Paul A, guy who I went to school with. One of my best friends, I guess, like, you know, a lifelong friend. However, he hasn't been in the country for like the last 10 years. The last time I saw this gentleman was at my wedding, or maybe it was like 9 years ago, or it could be 8 years ago. Don't tell my wife, I don't know how long we've been married, all right? Like, if anyone asks, I'll have to go and Google it. However, the last time that I saw, well, I'll just call him Ian. The last time I saw Ian was at my wedding. And I got a message and it was like, hey, Stu, are you in this city? Because I'm going to be working on some boats and ships and that sort of stuff. And I was like, I am. Yeah, brother, you should come and hang out. Definitely. So he came and we caught up over the weekend. He crashed here for a while. And I was lucky enough to take him on my first sharing through DJI, with using broadcast mode, but that first FPV flight of his. He'd seen drone footage. He knew all about drones. He did know a little bit about what I did with FPV, but he had never experienced an actual FPV drone versus what you see in terms of like DJI filming and Mavics and those sorts of things. So we got this, it was like the stars aligned. So I was using the goggles N3. He got to use the goggles 3. So he had the premium experience. We were using a DJI O4 Pro and the weather was perfect. You could not set a better scene. It was what you would call golden hour. So the sun was just probably about an hour before the sunset. We had some beautiful like golden rays just shining out everywhere, and we went for a buzz and we flew out over the mangroves and over the bay, and you could see out to all the islands. And even I was like, oh my gosh, I am really regretting that I didn't put an SD card in here to record this flight to show you guys. But it was outstanding, and just to have that first experience with somebody else in an FPV drone, like having that freedom to fly around and explore cool places. We're actually flying the Explorer. So we got about a 10-minute flight time. He thought it was very fast, and I was like, this is nothing compared to what we actually have. And yeah, it was amazing, and it was great to be able to share that and experience that with somebody for the first time. And I guess they're probably looking at the premium experience, like as good as you can get to experience something nice, stable video using the latest DJI at a amazing location at probably the perfect time of day with outstanding weather. There was no wind. Yeah, I feel, there you go, Ian. You got an absolute treat there, brother. And just to hear his reaction of how much fun it was and like his excitement. And straight away he was like, let's go practice on the simulator. Like, I want to learn how to do this, because like it probably had an effect on him. And yeah, we spent a couple of hours on the sim trying to get some things working, and just he learned that it is harder than it looks. And there is a big difference between flying a commercial drone or a self-piloting one and a actual FPV drone. It was quite funny to watch him suffering through that. We're trying a few different sims and those things. And yeah, but it was just a really cool experience. And it reminded me, and I had a conversation with him, and this should go out to any new pilot and any pilot who has been flying. You will probably remember this situation. For me, it was probably sometime in 2016. And you are so busy on learning to fly. Okay, roll left, roll right. I need to yaw more here. Like, and it's a very stressful experience. And there becomes a flight when one time you go flying, and it's like you are no longer thinking about how to fly. You are thinking about where to fly. And it's just, I can still remember I was at this little park in this city called Geelong where I was living, and there was a couple of different trees, and I was going around the outside of this track and flying under them, and I was no longer like fighting the drone. All of a sudden it had just clicked, and I was like, oh, I've got this. Like, oh, I want to explore over there. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. And it was like that first real moment of like, I am free, I am flying, I'm one with the drone. And if you are just learning, it is such an amazing experience. And I'm sure that anybody watching this who has been a pilot will remember that first flight when it clicked and you didn't fight the drone, and you weren't thinking about how to fly. You were just thinking where to fly. Like, you just kind of like, this is amazing. What's over here? Like it's almost like people take the veil off and you can see the world in an entirely different place and realize I can go and explore anywhere that I want. This is all, like, you will never look at the world the same again. So a very, very special time in probably every FPV pilot's history. Let me know in the chat if you've had that moment, if you can remember what it was like, that first time when you really were free to fly without having to I need to yaw more, turn. So that's move my pitch here and my roll there, all that sort of stuff. Johnny D is saying, I always forget to bring my SD card. The Flywheel Explorer L4 is my all-time favorite to just get out and cruise around. So that's from Happy Fly. Yeah, it was a great one to choose because we've got some long flight times as there. Every day with Bruno, folks have no idea how much this community helps folks like me. Well, every day with Bruno, I would like to say it goes both ways. To every single person here, thank you for being part of this. This is the best time of my working week. I love making videos. I love getting out and flying, but connecting with you guys, talking, and just having this connection is, I value it dearly. So thank you very much. Sparuni, he's saying Sunshine Coast. You'll love and hate the things you learn. Every day with Bruno says he just noticed he was a little bit behind in the stream. It would be best practice to have the DVR set to auto record. I'm fairly new, so not so sure. Yeah, it's definitely the thing when you fly DJI, it usually will auto record, but I did not have an SD card in either the drone or the headsets that we had. And the drone it does have some internal memory, but that's filled up. Like sorry, getting some, bear with me, I've got 2 seconds about some, Dad, what is it? Okay, we're back. All right, we're back. Sorry, we just had a little bit of, I'm on the wrong show, Dad. What am I meant to do here on the iPad? Anyway, I forget where I was, but flying around, first-time pilots, it's amazing. And Trace is saying, hey, UAVFutures, never met you before. I am Skip from 533. Thank you very much. It's great. I love the work that you do as well. Awesome place, that store, 533, or do you call it 533? I'm not too sure. Thank you for being here in the stream. Flying is bliss. Big stream today. Many new people. I actually don't know how many people. Here's a little tip that I do for myself, because this is Johnny D is saying, Dad, I'm bleeding. Yeah. You're allowed to interrupt me, children, if you're on fire or bleeding. That's probably a good rule. I don't know how many people are in this stream, because for me, the important people are whoever is here and just sharing this passion of FPV. And I don't look at the numbers. I don't look at the statistics. Like there could be 1,000 people watching this. There could be 5 people watching this. And the important part for me is just sharing this amazing message, this life-changing experience of these drones, and promoting some positive mental health. So if it reaches 1,000 people, that's great. If it reaches one person, that's equally as important in my world. So I actually don't know if we've got new people here or not, besides people who are chatting in the chat, but it is great to see everybody. I can see Anthony here as well. And let's get on now with the next topic that I'd like to talk about, which is these iFlight goggles. Now, recently we did a video. This is the iFlight Sky Viz. I've got them on upside down, but you wouldn't know based on how comfortable they are. So these goggles right here, they are from iFlight, and check out the prices. So they are fairly expensive. Hopefully this doesn't break my computer. Jumping over here to screen share. So these are $480 US. Now, if you're going to be getting these in the States, you're going to have to pay even more, because I imagine there's some tariffs and those sorts of things that they need to answer. I've done a full review of this. You should be able to go and watch that. Don't watch it now, watch it after this video. I'll link it down below if I make this a separate video. But for $480, we have some serious work that we need to do. And this is where I would tell iFlight that it's not too late. It's going to take a bit of work, but it's not too late. And I would hope that they listen, or at least think about the advice that we're about to give them today in this video with your help, versus just release these. Because as it stands at the moment, this goggle is not what to get. They only do analog, and some of the other things that they do just make completely no sense to me. They are not a bad goggle. I would prefer to fly these over like some cheap box goggles or anything else. But the rest of this goggle, sorry, I can hear my other daughter. I better just go double check before we continue with this. Man, who knew that looking after a 5-year-old was so much work? Anyway, what I am saying is, with these goggles, there's so much work we need to do, because for $480, I do not recommend these. You'd be much better off getting some Sky Zones, or spending a lot more if you wanted to go analog. We've got some HDZeros, which can look, they're so much more money, but at least they're offering something. And if you're flying around on a box set of goggles, look, these are better than that, but they're so much cheaper as well. Like, how much is it? EV800Ds. They might be $120 or something, versus this. This would hope to be better at $480. So what can we do to fix this? And here's some of the crazy things. Number one, when I try and record DVR on here, and I believe that this is a fault with the goggle and hopefully something that they can fix, the DVR unit inside here, it gets to temperatures that feel like it is going to melt the plastic. It gets so hot that the actual SD card will stop working. And I've taken out and shown some mates. I'm like, man, check out the temperature of this. So something is wrong with my DVR unit. If that is just a fault that I got unlucky with, that's fine. That's just this one unit. Maybe if they can investigate there and think, why is the DVR getting so hot? If that is just because I'm sure they didn't plan to do that, but that needs to be addressed. If it's on every single unit, the DVR is basically worthless. You're not going to be able to use the DVR. Number two, the actual fit of these goggles. So if you're listening, iFlight, this was what I would recommend. When this is clipping on my face, it is not designed for my style of face. I feel like if you have a more curved face, these goggles are not going to fit you. If you have a flatter face, or a shallower face, I should say, well, it has a pretty shallow between the center right here and the outside. It's pretty shallow, so it doesn't curve so much. So if you have a flatter face, they're going to fit. But for most noggins like myself, I didn't like it. It had a little bit of light leakage, but the big one, it just wasn't comfortable. Now, you probably could fix that with some foam, but I think a better solution would be to have multiple actual face plates or face brackets that we can attach to this, because as it stands, there is no one size fits all. And SkyZone did this really well, how they released a bracket and you could choose. Not only did they have two different types of foam, the original SkyZones and the SkyZones after that, they also had two face brackets as well. So a narrow face or a more curved face and a flatter one. So you could choose that. I think you need to do that iFlight, because as it stands, I don't like wearing these on my face. Number 3, and I think this one is a huge point of contention and desperately needs to be fixed. These goggles right here, they do have a HDMI in. And that is really important, because if you are buying an analog goggle, you want to have an ability, especially for $480, guys. You want to have this ability to be able to connect this up to some other receivers, whether that be OpenIPC, whether that be a WalkSnell VRX, whether that be a HDZero VRX. You're spending so much money that and if you've got HDMI in, we want to be able to connect it to those other receiver units so we can fly around on digital. Because as it stands, the difference between this set of goggles and a set of DJI O3s is like $20 difference. And I would say if you gave a pilot, 9 out of 10 pilots are going to say, hey, if you're going to give me a set of goggles between these two, do you want to fly analog or do you want to fly digital? I guarantee probably 99% of pilots are going to want to fly a DJI quality digital system over an analog system like this. Now, the other part, the problem with this is, yes, we have a HDMI in. It's one of these little micro ones, so I don't know if you can see that. They're right there. They're notorious for breaking. They're not very durable. I don't like that. And they don't give you that adapter. I would like, how much does an adapter cost, right? So iFlight for the Sky Viz goggles, I did not have an adapter to do that. That might be different. Maybe I lost it. If this is me just talking nonsense and they include the adapter and in my haste I opened up and lost that package somewhere, I'm sorry. But as far as I know, I do not believe you get an adapter. That needs to change as well. So I don't like the actual plug they've got here, and they don't give you an adapter to go in it. Now, it gets even worse though, guys. What about, how do we like to attach our units on the front? We usually have 3 pieces of plastic, like the traditional thing, and you clip your VRX in and you can screw it in. There is no way to attach a VRX to the front of this. They have these stupid LEDs on the front, which, yeah, they look cool, but if they're taken away from everything else, we don't want it. There's no real way besides taping something on here. And if you had to tape something on here, you don't really have much surface area. I would prefer just a perfectly flat goggle that gives me the most amount of surface area to be able to attach something. As it stands, we have like something the size of a postage stamp that is going to be like some glue or some double-sided tape, and that's meant to hold our VRX. Not good enough. It's not going to work. It gets even worse, right? So these are all the design. Sorry, I sort of couldn't. My brain was stopping. Brain not talk good now. The next thing, it gets worse, right? $480. What about this here? So our barrel plug connector. Let's have a look. We've got this right here. This is not the same as every single other goggle plug on the market. So whether you've got an old analog, whether you've got some Fat Sharks, Onways, Sky Zones, Orcas, HDZeros, some WalkSnell goggles L, WalkSnell goggles X, whatever they are, they all take the same barrel plug. Now, whatever that stat is, I'm sure I can put that on the screen. This one, it takes a completely different plug, and it's really, really frustrating that if anything happens to this cord, I've got to go back to iFlight to buy the same one. If you're out in the field and you forget your battery plug, I've done this many a times, and I say, oh, Steve, have you got a spare battery goggle power label? And you say, yeah, no worries, here you go, Stu. That's not the case with this. You're going to be stuck with this cord. So the cord is high quality itself. I just hate the connector on the end. I do not know why they've done that. And then finally, the actual focus for me, I didn't really like these adjustments here. It didn't feel smooth, or it felt like I was sort of forcing. It just was in, what's the best way to explain this? Like they did move around, but like as you can see, I'm pushing it, and instead of being able to slide evenly left and right, it was more like I was twisting it, that it was forcing it to move back and forth. So it's very stiff. Feels like it's going to break. That's probably a good way. As I'm shuffling these around, I feel like I'm going to snap something. These are little adjustment parts in right here. And I also couldn't see the entire screen. So there's a bit of a scathing review of everything wrong with the Sky Viz goggles iFlight. I hope that somewhere some people can address some. I know that it's going to cost money to refit these things, but I think at the base you have made an okay goggle. But these decisions I would prefer to fix. And I think in the long run, you're going to be better off to fix these than just release the product as is. And I mean, you cannot take these antennas off either. You are stuck with these antennas. That's not my favorite, but that is like so far down the list of things that I think they need to change first that just, you can leave these. If you've got to keep something, have that there. All right, we've got a tradies here. I did see your super chat, sorry, but I wanted to make sure I finished my little rant on these goggles. Thank you very much. And here says, looks like a design from Orca, DJI, Walksnail, and Minecraft. Got in a fight over those goggles. A lot of people were referring to them as Batman, actually, some sort of Dark Knight goggles or something. I mean, they do look cool, but at the end of the day, who cares about looks when you're wearing a shirt that looks like this and you've got some antennas strapped to the front of your head? So, I don't know. iFlight. I mean, they got cool LEDs, you're right, but I mean, no one's going to be seeing those. It's sort of, I'll take practicality, I'll take function over form every day of the week, and I think every single pilot that I know would do that as well. Someone's saying an Ender Dragon as well. My kids have been talking about Minecraft a little bit, actually. But yeah, what do you guys think? What would you change in those goggles? If you've got any other tips, or is there anything that you like about them? Because if we can get this back to iFlight, maybe they'll be able to look at this and be like, oh, here's what the community's saying. And I feel like it's just, they could have saved themselves so much money and created such a better product if they said, hey, what do you think of these? Here's my ideas. Well, first off, let's fix everything we just addressed in this video right here. Other people, Johnny D, are saying is they're not worth the money. Look like a knockoff Integra. Someone's saying I've got so many 5mm power cords. Do any of these designers ever fly FPV? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm just reading someone's joke there. How do you get Pikachu on a bus? You Pokemon. Here's my favorite dad joke. It's what's not very heavy and blue? Light blue. Anyway, all right, let's continue on. I would like to now show you just how awesome DIY FPV is. So recently, I had a makeover. I was showing DIY FPV and explaining how it all works, and tried to show the example of, hey, if we want to Google this product right here. So let me show you with screen share. If you haven't seen the catalog in DIY FPV, we have like hundreds of thousands of products from across the store, all collated in a massive database. So this right here, this newbie drone VR ready to fly bundle kit, you can find out exactly how much it is, who's got it in stock, go check out their prices, all that sort of stuff. Really, really cool. And then he's like, well, doesn't Google just do this? And I was like, that's a really good point, because why do we have this catalog here for people to help you pilots all for free? You can go check it out. The link should be, I forgot to put the link in, but anyway, DIY FPV. You might be like, hey, I want to get this. So you do a Google search. Here's our Google search here. Now, okay, we've got a couple of different ones across the top. We've got one of the ones that we actually want to have a look at. Then you've got to scroll down. Okay, now we're looking at some videos, some Reddit posts. It's a little bit confusing, especially if you want to go and buy something. And he said, well, what about if you click on the shopping link? You know, because shouldn't that be relatively similar to what DIY FPV is offering? Some links to where you can actually go and get it. I was like, yeah, okay, let's put this to the test. So remember, here's our one where if we click on something, like let's say, we'll click on this one, Wrecked, because obviously it's going to be at newbie, but let's see, is this going to be the same drone? Yeah, here it is. You can go and buy this right now. It's the same kit. If we look at Phaser FPV, you can go and buy this. This is the same kit that we've got right here. So DIY FPV is a pretty powerful website, but versus Google, and this is where I'm going to say we are so much better than Google, because now we've gone, so here's our normal Google search, and now we're going to have a look at shopping. So we've searched the exact same product name up the top right here. We've searched exactly this. Check this out. So let's have a look at shopping. All right, so this is not it. Now, these are sponsored. So first of all, you're going to get all this rubbish across the top. And one of these is the link that is the product that actually matches this. Then we have a whole bunch of drones right here. So yes, this one's correct. But if you're a newcomer looking, you're like, wait, is it this one, this one, this one, this one, this one? None of these other, they're out of this result of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like, 20 or so drones. 2 of them are the actual thing that you've searched and you might want to go and find out. And all the rest are something completely different. And if you don't know FPV, you might be making the wrong decision. You might be making the wrong purchase. You might be getting the wrong product. So after I showed him this, it was a bit of a proud moment for me when I was like, wow, we have really created something special where we can search, find a product, and it compares this one uniquely to exactly it with a really high degree of accuracy without any of that other garbage filtering in. So I was quite proud of DIY FPV. So I thought, you know what, I might show guys just how well we're doing as well. So anyway, other people, Johnny D saying he prefers to build his quads. He just installed his third walk snail system. 1 more to go. Happy Flyer RC is saying, yeah, that's annoying when you're trying to Google, which is exactly why we built DIY FPV for you guys. And then let's see, just reading, catching up on the chat. But yeah, hopefully people get some use out of this anyway, because we've put a lot of time into it, and if you guys are using it, I think you're going to save a lot of time as well. And just generally, there's some other really cool things in here, like the map and the dashboard and Builder. We've been working so much on Builder. I was showing him some behind the scenes designs we've got coming up on the Builder as well. All right, let's have a bit of fun here. In the chat, I would like you to talk about what is your favorite sim? Sims are a great way to start FPV and to start learning those skills. And when my mate Ian was over here and we tried to get him flying, or at least start on his journey towards becoming an FPV pilot, he jumped on the sim, and it is so much more difficult for a new pilot coming in. If you've never flown before, like he was like, man, how do you do this? How are you flying underneath that tree or around that building or underneath the trampoline, when he can't even get the drone to hover stay, when you first pick it up for more than like 2 seconds, and then it's out of control and crashing. It was in acro mode, so I know that's a little bit harder, but we're going to have a bit of fun here with a sim tier list. So we've got this right here. I've got a couple on the screen. We can add some more, I believe, if we need to. Alrighty, so we've got a couple of sims. We have Uncrashed, DRL, FPV Air 2, FPV Freerider. Is this Liftoff Micro Drones, Liftoff Normal Liftoff, Real Drone Simulator, Velocidrone, and I think this one's like TYP FPV or YPV FPV or something. I actually haven't tested that one. So other people, we got Russ Wolf in the chat as well. Shout out to Russell. He's saying he uses Liftoff. Happy Flyer RC is saying never used an FPV sim. Would like to find a good one. We've got Vinny saying DRL. I like racing. It teaches you to be faster at just doing the basics. And I don't know if Cos1973 is saying Phoenix RC. Is that the actual name of a sim right here? FPV Skydive. All right. We should probably put these ones that we've got here, FPV Skydive, and I'm going to put this one straight up here. And this D list. I wonder if I can change this to unknown, because I have to do ones that I haven't. There we go. That'll make it a little bit better. I don't want somebody to clip this and be like, look, you put it at a D rating. It's just that it's unknown to me. I haven't actually flown that. So the rest of these, and I should probably put here too, Liftoff Micro Drones. So I've flown Liftoff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I have not actually flown the micro drone one. I have a bit of an issue actually with Liftoff splitting the player base, and we have Liftoff right here, which I think is a pretty decent sim, pretty awesome sim, but I don't like how it's been split, and instead of being a DLC, it's entirely separate thing. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. We got Ivan in the chat as well, sending through some love over there. He's saying, making a thumbnail now for Wednesday live stream with you. Looking forward to it. Yes, I'm going to be on a live stream over there. It'll be my Thursday. I will probably do a little community post after this, actually, with the time and the date. We're going to jump in, talk. I actually have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but I really look forward to it. So if you haven't seen Ivan's channel, go check it out. He actually has what I believe, and this is I really like humor, and his style of humor, if you like humor and FPV, they gel together so well. It is really dry. It is witty. And it doesn't hang around a long time waiting for the punchline and like waiting for that appreciation. It just continues on in a very deadpan manner. It's right up my alley. I love it. So I think your videos are hilarious. Keep it up. So, and I can't wait to maybe work on a plane video, sort of a bit of a collaboration in the future as well with some motion controlled stuff. So when I first saw that, I was like, man, I want to do that. Anyway, thank you very much for that super chat. I'll do a post about that. Let's get on with this sim. We got a little bit off topic. Sim rating. So the first one that I would like to say is probably, I'm going to start with FPV Air 2. Now, FPV Air 2, you can't actually, I don't believe you can get anymore unless you already have it on Steam. I think it was delisted. However, I have so many codes, and if you would like a code, just comment on this video and I'll respond to some. I have a ton of codes for FPV Air 2, and I actually kind of like it. I think compared to everything else, it's not as good. So it probably is a C tier sim, but it felt fluid in the air. Now this is pretty old as well. It might be like 6-7 years old. At the time, we didn't really have access to a lot of other sims, so I really appreciated FPV Air 2, and I know a lot of people have learnt on it. It was a bit glitchy, it was a bit buggy, it was made by like one person just to help people get flying in the community. So yeah, FPV Air 2, I'm going to put that at C tier. Now, Uncrashed, I think is probably for me an A tier. It is fun, it feels good. And I think is it Uncrashed where you can also has a really good level editor. So that's why I'm going to put that here. This is where I learned to trippy spin by using this. I installed this, and this was sort of like my go-to for trying some new tricks. And I created an environment where there's some really tall pine trees and you can scale things right up. And this is what I was practicing on before I went and did it in real life. So I found this as a really good middle ground. It might not feel the most realistic. It might not feel like one-to-one correlations between the real thing, but I think something that a lot of people get wrong is when it comes to sims, they don't have to feel exactly the same. It just has to be enough so you learn that muscle memory. So those neurons are firing and it's okay. Like if I go and fly around, if I'm learning to fly on this and then someone puts me on a 5-inch racing drone or a little drone like this Eagle 2, these are going to feel totally different. But the skills that I get from this one are going to be directly transferable to this one. I'm going to know how throttle and yaw and roll and pitch, how that all responds to my drone. I'm going to understand what it actually feels like to flying. And it's the same thing when it comes to the sim. The sim, do not get hung up on just how it feels. And is it a one-to-one correlation for 99% of the pilots out there? Anything on this list is 1,000 times better than not jumping on a sim. So just because you've got something like FPV Air 2 down here at C tier, if this was all I had and I was starting out, 1,000,000% this is definitely worth it. Now, Johnny D is saying, I haven't used sims in a long time. Yeah, I don't think you need to use sims if you enjoy flying and you can do everything out in the field that you want to do. Sims are a learning tool designed to help pilots, and that's how I think they should look at them, get to that next level or the next thing that they want to achieve. If your achievement and your goal that you're setting for yourself is flying around having a good time, you don't need to do that. You don't need to be on the sim every day. I know how to fly. I'm going to have a great time going and flying. I don't want to go and jump on the sim unless I've got a goal, like I was learning to trippy spin. Then I come here and use the sim to do that. So I think that's how most pilots should look at this as well. Now we've got DRL. I think DRL is probably, if I had to guess, yeah, probably between A and B tier. I don't think it's as good as Uncrashed, but I think it's definitely better than a B tier. It's fun. It's got some people into racing. It might be a little bit more arcadey. So that's sort of how I feel about DRL. I haven't used it too much. It's not my go-to sim. I definitely haven't put as many hours on here, but I know a lot of pilots who started because of the DRL sim, and has probably done a lot for our hobby as well. The next one we've got is FPV Freerider. This I'm going to put again in C tier. There is a new one. I haven't flown the new one. This was like $5. I should probably also too, this is factoring in the price. So this was $5, I believe. Freerider when it first came out was like $5. This is what I learned to fly on. Once we had a sim, I was like, oh, that would be great to practice. I can hook this up to my actual radio. So I started to use that. There's probably a new one that does a little bit better. I haven't flown that one. So yeah, $5 for this one, $5 for FPV Air 2. We're a little bit more expensive here. These are like between $18 and $30, I believe, for these top ones that we're going to see. So I really like DRL as well. I think I like Uncrashed a little bit better, but I'd probably put them both in at A class. Next off, we've got Liftoff. I think Liftoff belongs up here in the A class as well. It's very, very popular. Between the three of these, this is probably my least favorite, but I do use it a lot. This is probably what my daughter flies around on. I wish they had a few more options. I don't think the levels are quite as exciting in Liftoff, and I don't like how once you go out of bounds, especially if you're trying to learn, it forces you to go back. Like there's a hay bale level in here, which I understand was one of the first ones, but it's such a small confining space, and I just wonder why are you making us turn around? I don't think, especially when you are learning to fly, I don't like that option. So the issue I have with Liftoff is purely that they split and made something called micro drones, which looks really cool, but it should have been like a little paid DLC instead of its entirely new thing, because now you're going to have two sets of your player base across two different games. Next up, we have Velocidrone. Now, I'm going to put that down here. Just joking. I'm putting that up here at ST. I was just triggering a few people. This is from who I have spoken to and some very, very fast pilots. When they are flying around, Velocidrone seems to be the go-to for trying to replicate one-to-one feelings on what their drone actually feels like the physics and everything that is making it as a tool to get better. Very, very fast pilots, I believe, like Velocidrone. Now, as I said before, remember how I said don't worry about is it one-to-one? Skills are going to be transferable. Like as long as once you achieve that goal, and my goal is to learn to fly, then I can go out to the field and have fun. That's what I want to do. If you are a pilot, though, when your goal is to get better, to get faster, to feel as close to the racing environment as you can, then you need this tool to be able to do that. And I believe that Velocidrone is probably the best choice for a racer. Now they recommend some others, but this one is always up there that I know that they use. So Velocidrone, 10 out of 10 when it comes to racing pilot's choice on to become the fastest 5-inch racer out there. So if you you want to be competitive, this is the tool. And remember, these are all tools. This is the tool to use. Now they can be fun. It is fun, but it's not as fun for me as flying around the real thing. So that's why I refer to these as tools. And then finally, we've got Real Drone Simulator. Now I'm going to put this at a B. A beauty about this one, it's free. It's completely free to use. It's got some cool levels in there. It runs on some pretty basic computers. Real Drone Simulator, it's a great one. I believe there's an Android app as well, so you can even try with some touchpads on your phone or something if you wanted to. I do like Real Drone Simulator. So it doesn't feel as good as these ones. It's not as developed or as advanced, but I mean, you can't complain. All you got to do is like make an account, and then you can go and fly around and have some good times. Go check it out. So there we go. If you guys let me know too what you think is the best sim. Have I missed anything? Would you change any of these around? And the only reason I've got these on the bottom, this, what is it, YFPV or whatever this one is right here, and Liftoff Micro, is because I haven't tried them. TinyWook Pro should be a solid B. So that's from Vinny. TinyWook Pro is also free. Okay, well, definitely. I think that automatically puts something up for me into B tier as a useful tool for getting people to fly. What day is it in the US? I believe it's Sunday. Sunday in the US. Happy Flying saying, if a sim keeps you from just one crash, it will be well worth any price. Yep, I fly Velocidrone daily, but that's because I use it to learn new tricks and I want to get faster. That's from Cowboy with a camera. And someone saying I found Uncrashed had a very, very weird feel to it. It definitely doesn't have a one-to-one correlation, anything like Velocidrone. I think I like Uncrashed because I liked the level editor and it was also really fun. Like just it was a little bit more arcadey, but that was fine. I guess I want that dopamine hit to be rewarding me and encouraging me to like making it is a game, making it feel like a game. So I'm not just doing a chore learning to fly. And Calico FPV saying, I've got 11 hours in liftoff micro. It's fun, but maps are limited. Yeah, I think that's probably the weakest part about liftoff would be the maps, in my opinion. Alrighty, let's continue because there's some cool things that I would like to talk about. The new HDZero stack. So recently I saw some stuff come out from HDZero and Ryan did a video on it and it was about this right here. And this actually looks really cool. Now, a lot of people... there's a little bit of history between me and HDZero, but I think they're coming out with some really cool products. I wish them all success. This right here is an 8S. I believe it's 8S. I could be wrong, but I just want to double check. But it can do up to 70 amps. So this looks like a perfect candidate for when I'm building something like this. So this is my high-speed drone that I'm putting together. You sort of need some power. When you're going to be building a drone like this and trying to break some records, having a stack like this that's reliable and looks like they've done some solid testing on it and put out a whole bunch of publications, which I appreciate. Looks like they've done a lot of work in here. It looks really, really beefy. I should link that video down below as well. Now, let's find if we go down here, I'm pretty sure it said 8S. Let's have a look. Input voltage. Let's see. What's up, darling? Okay, you're just gonna have to read a book then for another 10 minutes till I come in, okay? Okay, well, you have to choose what to do because I've got to do some work now and help some people, all right? You want to show me? Okay, I'll be back, guys. All right. I should say my kid's been absolutely amazing. I didn't think she'd be I mean, she meant to be at school, but she's not feeling well. But definitely very, very impressed. Anyway, let's see, is this supports 3 to 8S batteries. So that's outstanding. Being able to like pump that much current and that much juice and voltage into your ESC is crazy. And I think a really impressive part is it can take 100 amps per motor per ESC. So that's crazy. That's so much current that it's going to be pumping out. It's definitely made for things like this. So I think racers are going to get a lot out of it. I'm looking here at the price. It's $165 for a stack, which it is more expensive. But if HDZero seems to make products that are definitely not value focused or worried about price, they're trying to make the best that they can for people who want to get the most performance. So a lot of HDZero pilots, like they're going to buy the goggles too. Crazy expensive, but for racing and what they want, they're happy to pay those higher than usual prices because performance to them is more important than value. So this looks cool. It looks like it's a little while away, so we've got 4 to 6 weeks till they're actually shipping out. But I encourage anybody to go check out the video. I think that this is a pretty massive ESC, to be honest, in terms of like the performance and also the amount of people that are going to really be looking for something like this. 4-in-1 70 amp ESC. Oh, and it is BioHeli and AM32 as well. They've got 2 different versions, I believe, you can choose. Yeah. So anyway, go check that out if you would like probably one of the most high quality stacks that there is on the market. And for 8S, it's insane. let's jump over here. I'm just looking at the time. I don't want to run this too long because I am looking after my daughter who's sick home from school. So I'll probably talk about this actually. This is the last product that I have. I cannot believe that HobbyKing still exists. They were what I started my FPV journey with. And I got an email the other day and it was from HobbyKing, and I had to do a double take, and they're like, hey, can you check out some batteries that we've got coming out? And I was like, first I wasn't sure. I did a bit of Googling just to make sure that this wasn't a scam. It wasn't. The things have turned up, and yeah, HobbyKing, I think, has dropped the ball. They used to be the dominant place where, at least here in Australia, you could get everything FPV related. Now their stock is either overpriced, 10 years out of date, and just pretty garbage. But we did get some things that turned up. So these are their new batteries that they're releasing. And straight off the bat, I was like, okay, this looks interesting. But we've got a little high voltage. This is I think it's a 2S. Yeah, a 2S 300 milliamp hour little pack. Okay, fair enough. This might be great in some little like Mobular 8s or something that needs a little 2S pack, like the really, really small 65 millimeter ones. Look at this. Why are you making a battery like this that is this small with just as much weight coming off the wire? Like as soon as I saw that, I just sort of lost a little bit of excitement. So we've got some Turnigy batteries here. Let's see. What do we got in these ones? Are they all going to have such ridiculous battery power leads? Johnny DR saying, I got a couple of HobbyKing race gates. Oh, this is a little bit better, but here we've got a 1S. I don't know, what is it? Why do they have such long power cables? Okay, it's a 1S. That would have just been so much better for people to say, oh, can we get some, again, pretty massive power battery lead for a battery which has, what's this, probably like 350? 450 milliamp hours. This is still too big, in my opinion, because when it comes to these tiny little drones, every single gram actually does make a difference on a drone like this. On a 5-inch, not so much, unless you're racing, obviously. But for this, just make the batteries as light as possible, please. And the best way to do that is by not having a crazy power lead. So yeah, straight off the bat, it's just kind of stupid, if you ask me. So Johnny DRC is saying ridiculous. HobbyKing is updating their warehouse in the US. And let's see, Anthony Zane is saying, oh, bless your stew, prioritize. So and Johnny D's the last one too, saying, I just found out that Walks now got. Thanks, guys. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, here we are. Are we back? Yeah. So Johnny DRC, thank you. Your goggles are not pumping out the 1200 milliwatts or 500 milliwatts, whatever it's going to be. That's like that's your drone that is doing that. So this right here, this has got the 1S Walksnail VTX in here. This, I don't know what this goes up to from memory, 500 milliwatts. Maybe I'd have to double check the stats on here, or the Moonlight, or the Walksnail GT, like those VTXs that you put inside your drone are what are pumping the signal out. It's not your goggles right here. So you've got that. I don't know what that misconception is there, Johnny DRC, but you will get I believe, just as much range with the Goggles L as you will with the Goggles X. Now, unless we're talking about some two-way communication where we're sending some packets of data back, I don't know what the output limits are for them, but the 1200 milliwatts and the 500 milliwatts, that's what you're referring to there, is these little, is the VTXs on here. So do not worry. There. All right. Let's see, catching up with them, just catching up a little bit on chat. I can see a bunch of members in here as well. And I'd like to say today might be the day when you say, hey, Stu, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your live streams and everything that you bring to the community. I like what you're doing with DIY FPV. I like how it's free. How can I support you? And one of the best ways to do that is becoming a member here on YouTube. Like you'll see all these absolute legends here with green names next to them. Today might be the day when you're like, yeah, I'm going to sign up as well for like $2 a month. It takes about 2 seconds. And also you get some bonus videos to go and watch. So there's some members only videos, things where we break down DJI, we break down walk snail. We've got some discussions about HDZero on there. Just all in all, having some fun with some cool extra videos as well. Now look, it's almost 11 o'clock here in Oz. But let's see, we've got San Diego, someone from San Diego here. I am probably going to cut the stream here. I did have a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. Some DJI bands and sort of what's going on over there in the States. There's again, it's really not looking good if you want to get DJI stock levels or even just drones in the US. It's in a not great place in terms of even just stock levels, prices, tariffs, what's going to be happening like with banning FPV, or can you actually even fly something like this around? It's not great. And I think there's a really cool shirt that I saw. And I mean, I'm not publicly saying this, but I would love a shirt that just said, I saw this as a comment and I was like, oh, that would make a pretty rad shirt. I would wear that shirt if someone ever makes one out there that just said, don't comply, just fly. That's nice. As long as you're flying safely, right? I mean, that make a cool shirt. I'm not saying people do that, but it'd be a pretty cool shirt design. Too easy. All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm going to go check in with the kid, make sure that she's doing all right. We've got some other things we're going to do. Try and make her day a little bit more exciting because she's feeling under the weather, and she's been amazing at letting me able to do this live stream. You guys are important. We always end this stream just on a little thing. It's so easy to give advice and tell other people what to do, but it is really hard to listen to it to yourself. And I would just like to say, if you saw somebody, and this might go out to one person that needs to hear it, if you were giving somebody advice and saying, man, you should just lay up, be easy on yourself, and be kind to one another. But most of all, you need to be kind to yourself because you are awesome. You are valued. You are cared about. I am glad that you are here. I'm very grateful that you're part of this audience and part of the FPV community. And I would just like to say, be kind to yourself because you deserve it too. You're an awesome person. And I just want to say thank you. So, and please don't feel alone. And if you are suffering from any mental health issues, just remember that anxiety, or whether it be depression or whatever else that it is that could be keeping you from living your best life, you don't have to feel ashamed for that. Lots of people go through that. And you don't feel alone because you're not alone. You're part of this community with us, and we're very grateful to have you here. And go and speak to some professionals. It makes a profound impact on the road to recovery. So anyway, guys, you're amazing. And if you're thinking, hey, was he talking to me then? Well, if you're thinking that thought, maybe I was. Maybe that was just for you. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next live stream. It's the same time, week in, week out. I got some cool videos coming up. I'm working on, I hope I can release the TBS wing video later in this week. And if you haven't seen my other videos, one of the best ways that you can support this channel right now is either becoming a member, or you say, hey, I'm gonna go watch one of your other videos, Stu. So YouTube's like, yes, let's push this video a little bit more. So anyway, other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content. And as always, happy flying.